Hey everyone, we all know semiconductor stocks, AMD Advanced Micro Devices is one of those stocks that's been acting really well along with this whole AI push into semiconductors. And so I just really want to take a couple of minutes and look at this formation. And this is purely technical, but it's basically what momentum is based around, right? We talk a lot about algorithms and how they rule the day. And also within that becomes a lot of trend following and momentum based analysis. And as far as I'm concerned, when I look at this here, and this is again, I emphasize it's overly simplistic what I'm doing here, but in a bull market we have momentum working until it's not. This actually can work, and I think that's also part of why a lot of people feel emboldened right now with their ability to manage the markets. At some point, of course, that changes real quick. But for the time being, we remain in this environment where that seems to be working out. And so if you look at the past two sort of real larger consolidation phases, we had one in December 21 up until January 23, so call that 2 years. And then we had one that lasted from about May 23 into about October 23, so half a year or so. And now we're working on one that really has been in place since March. So this also happens to coincide with that liquidity increase that I've been talking about. In fact, let me quickly share that chart before we draw that third consolidation period. So this is now coinciding also with this rise in liquidity that I've been talking about a lot to our clients. I've also mentioned it here in the public forums and videos. You can see that blue line rising. Now, let's draw in our third consolidation phase. So we drew in the one from that period there, then the shorter one last year. Now, the third one is basically one that's still taking place right now. If we squint, we might argue we're kind of breaking above it. But in the larger sense, we're still consolidating here. So I think this one ultimately will resolve higher. The question, of course, is it going to be one that really does break out for a multi-month basis or on a multi-time time frame? Does it take out the previous highs? All good questions. I can tell you the one before, I'm drawing too many arrows here. The one before, if you look at this real close, and this is I think a pretty good exercise in understanding how these things work. The one from before there didn't actually break the stock back above all new all-time highs. If you look at that, see where it stopped right there? It didn't actually break above those previous all-time highs. And so even if we get a breakout here now, that does not mean the stock has to make new all-time highs, right? So again, a lot of this has to do with analyzing stuff a bit more rationally. So even if this were to work, and I do think this is likely going to work through a multi-month lens. Does it have to break us above the March highs? I don't think it does, right? Maybe we have 20-30% left in the tank here, and I think that might be good for an initial move. This kind of momentum and really trend analysis is really the core focus of what we do. Sector and group rotation, analyzing when there's relative strength, when there's absolute strength, when there's new trends emerging, and when old trends sort of die on the vine. Make sure you join us this week for an educational session on that. As always, bring a pen and a piece of paper and have a good start to the week.